I've never seen as many people in one place in all my life.
I seen a lizard go down a hole and I grabbed it and pulled it out. And it was a red-bellied black snake, a venomous snake. Prices go up, prices go down, prices go up, prices go down. Destined for a really bad outcome. Chinese reptile industry newbie.
Hello， 大家好，这是色界。北京试爬展已经结束了，但是很有幸的呢，我们也依然邀请到了我们的蓝蛇繁育专家、世界蓝蛇基因教父JoeBall and 这个小型蟒世界繁育第一人 Peter，Uncle P。
你好。
对，然后那么我们简单的让这个JoeBall和 Peter 跟屏幕前的朋友们打个招呼吧 ，Say hi。
Hi everyone.
Chinese friend, yeah, Chinese reptile lover.
Yes.
Yeah. 然后呢，我们也简单的做一个小聊天啊。Peter，JoeBall 是第一次来到中国，对吧？那 How about feeling to first come to China?
Oh, it's been a massive trip. You know, we've been here just under a week, and we've seen 3 full days at the expo. I've never seen as many people in one place in all my life, and yeah, huge. It's been. What else can I say? It's been a huge experience for me, and I've never seen as many reptile nerds in one place ever.
Peter 是第2次来到中国，那感觉跟第1次相比，上一次来到中国也感受到了中国的一个爬行动物的文化，然后那么这次又来到中国来参与了我们北京试爬展，那觉得跟上一次相比有什么？更加的这个怎么说呢？这种有没有什么有更多的惊喜吗？对。
So yeah. Obviously, the first time it was more of a family trip and making connections with yourself and a few other individuals, and this time it was about experiencing the largest reptile expo on the planet, I reckon. And I've been to Africa, America, Australia, and now China expos. It's crazy to see so many animal lovers all in the one spot.
Yeah.
It is just mind-blowing and very humbling to meet so many amazing people.
那其实我们知道JoeBall跟 Peter 现在在世界爬行动物行业都是有非常高的这个位置的。那其实也是离不开他们可能，比如说从小就会喜欢爬行动物。那我想问一下，那JoeBall跟 Peter 都从事爬行动物这个行业啊，或者说从喜欢这个爬行动物到驯养，然后到繁育，到闻名世界，已经有了多长的时间了？
Okay, so when did I start breeding reptiles?
Yeah, when
just
did
like
you
a little
start?
mini little story. So yeah, I was probably about this high and about 4 years old when I was living in England on my dad's farm, and he'd be busy out in the fields with cows, and I'd be sort of lifting up bits of wood or anything and just grabbing anything like that. Until, you know, I was bought as a pet a little turtle in England, and I used to sort of watch those, and then it grew from there. You know, as I got into my teenage years, I kept a couple of bearded dragons, and then I moved to Australia 25 years ago, and with all the beautiful weather there, I saw an opportunity to set up reptiles outside, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew, and then I got into blue tongues and any other reptile that I could, and here we are today, you know. So over 45 years later.
45
years, yeah.
It's a very long time.
Yeah.
How about Peter?
Very similar to Joe, actually. It all starts when you're at those young ages, you know, like I remember being at preschool and playing in a sand pit and lifting the tarp and finding a blue tongue.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like 4 or 5, somewhere around that same sort of age
all the
group.
other kids are doing other stuff.
They're all screaming and running away, and I'm over there
yeah.
catching things, looking through the bush. I remember another experience on my grandfather's farm.
Yeah.
Same again, I seen a lizard go down a hole and I grabbed it and pulled it out.
Yeah.
And it was a red-bellied black snake, a venomous snake. I was 8 years old. So, you know, a little bit stupid, but you pull it out and you go, whoa, and then you sort of let it go. But always catching things and playing with that. And it's just sort of evolved and got bigger and bigger. I guess really the main sort of mission started probably 25, nearly 30 years ago, is where I started keeping the majority of everything. You know, I used to keep stuff and let it go, but keeping stuff and maintaining it and keeping it alive used to be the key back in the good old days. But now it's about You know, not only making it survive, but making it thrive. And thriving means breeding and producing animals. Now, you know, probably have a very diverse collection of reptiles, quite a lot of snakes, obviously, and I specialise in the dwarf python species of the world, the children's pythons. And from that, you know, being able to breed some pretty cool stuff, and then more importantly, get to share my knowledge with other breeders and learn from others worldwide. And that's what we do, you know, and it just continues to go like this, you know, it's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah. 那其实近些年开始，中国爬行动物行业才称之为一个行业，在真的逐步的在发展，然后这个也是在中国正在兴起的一个阶段。那么最近呢，其实也近些年呢，它开始成为一个行业之后哈，就爬行动物行业里边呢，其实还是比较混乱的，比较无序的。那比如说价格，比如说也有这种价格的起伏回落这种，那有的时候会很冲击从业者的一些信心。我想知道因为他们都是在世界范围内，其实看过了很多这样的循环，那么他们对待爬行动物行业的起落，他们是有什么样的看法？
Well, that's a great thing. Like Joe and I are probably considered pioneers in our industry because Australia has a very small sort of niche market. You know, we can't keep everything from across the world. We can only keep what's at home, and we've got to do really well at it. And that's the reason why you find individuals like Joe and myself, we both respect each other, have done really well because we've stuck to it. And to be honest, the industry or the hobby in Australia really has only been, you know, taking off in the last probably 10 years, to be honest, that it's actually started to pick up some momentum. But some wise words I was given by Brian Barczyk was, you know, if the market, because we all know the markets will fluctuate, you know, prices go up, prices go down, prices go up, prices go down. So Brian Barczyk's words of advice is always buy in when prices are down low, because the market's going to come back. You're not spending as much money, but you're getting all the key ingredients. And when it does come back, you'll be at top of the game, because most breeders get scared, and it's because when breeders get scared or the industry suffers, everyone sells at the same time, and that's the reason why you get the prices drop. But also about saturations of markets and stuff like that.
I second those points and agree with all that, but I'll just give a slightly different angle on it and take the money out for a second.
Oh, definitely.
And for me, for those people getting into a hobby, pick what you love. If there's something you love, do it, chase it, and do it really, 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 really well. The price then doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's right. 100%.
Because if you've spent a lot of money on it and you love it, and the price drops, at least you love it.
That's it.
I see way too many people in Australia, they'll chase wherever the money is. They'll go, I want that because it's expensive. And they are the actual ones who dump the price.
Yes.
Because as soon as it starts to drop, they'll sell it cheap. So if it's full of people that love what they're doing, I think the prices naturally stay high, because people have an affinity for it and they'll keep the animals for longer, and they're, you know, that kind of thing.
And that's probably the reason why people like us survive longer than most, is because
you're prepared to lose money.
You're prepared to lose money, and you're prepared to stick with the market regardless of the value. You know, you're just there for the long period.
A guy that I'm also into birds. There's a guy that sold me some birds, and he's an old bloke, and he's about 75. And what he says to people is, if you're not prepared, when you spend the money, if you're not prepared to put it in the bin the day that you buy the animals, don't buy them.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, that's the risk with all
animals. That's the risk, and I know that sounds harsh, but that's the lowest common. That's the, at the end of the day, that's your fear.
Yeah.
If you're scared of your fear, don't do it.
Yeah, don't pull the trigger.
And do what you love.
Yeah.
简单来说哈，就是总结的意思呢，就是爱你所爱的。这个爱是不能用钱来衡量的。你如果没有准备好这个去付出你的钱到你的爱上面的话，就是你会拿爱跟钱去相衡量的话，那就不要去花这些钱，对吧？大概是这个意思。太棒了。然后，那么想这个JoeBall也好 ，Peter 也好，在饲养动物方面，觉得最重要的是哪些点？就是能给大家以一个建议的，就是关于饲养动物这件事情，觉得最重要的点。
For me, it's about getting the enclosure or how you're going to keep the animal right first. So don't rush out and buy an animal before you fully understand how you're going to keep it, where you're going to keep it, and what perfection looks like for that animal.
The commitment.
So, yeah. So it's the commitment first, yeah. Get that right first. If you get the enclosure right, then you're going to enjoy your animal.
Yeah.
And so, you see people, they'll buy 3 enclosures and then suddenly they've got 10 animals. Should be 10 enclosures, 3 animals, and then go from there.
Yeah.
And then you can really enjoy it because you've got it the right way around.
Yeah, I concur on what Joe said. It's probably the most important part of what we do as breeders is to make sure that people have the right environments, everything before they get the animals. So many times people buy animals and then go take a picture and put it on social media and say, oh, I just bought this, how do I keep this? And they're not even talking to whoever the person they're buying animals off, and you can just think that those animals are obviously, destined for a really bad outcome.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of responsibility on breeders to make sure that, new hobbyists are prepared for what comes in, and sometimes make sure you've picked the right enclosures, the right everything for that particular species. Don't be buying something for a bearded dragon and then put a blue tongue in it, or a gecko and then wonder why you failed. So sometimes a lot of homework, a lot of commitment, talking to other breeders, networking, building your intelligence level on those particular animals before you make that commitment. And probably more importantly, find something you love. Something, some people like beautiful coloured stuff, some people like the way they move or sit, because when we bring them home and put them in an enclosure, we get to learn about the animals too, about their body language and stuff like that too. So I find that pretty enjoyable.
对，然后刚才呢，其实是对一个宠主或者一个爱好者，您为什么要购买爬行动物？然后到购买爬行动物之后，以一个什么样的心态去面对你的小宠物，对吧？那么我们也知道 ，JoeBall 跟 Peter 也是在世界范围内非常非常富有名誉的、享有名誉的繁育人。那么其实下一个问题，其实就是对待这些已经开始要作为一个 breeder 了，已经开始要作为一个繁育人了。那么照顾动物和繁育动物上，对动物来讲，他们认为最重要的点是哪几点？
Oh, to be a breeder, well, again, once you've got the animals that you love and you've learned how to look after them, the rest should just follow on from there. If you've got all that right and the animals are thriving, then the breeding should just happen. But also on top of that, you want to be breeding something that you want to know what you're going to do with the offspring. Are you going to keep the offspring? Do you have a plan in mind to use them to make better animals down the track? Or are you breeding just to sell? Because if you're breeding to sell, you want to make sure that it's something that you think the market has space for. So those two things, or are you just doing it for fun? Are you set up? Do you have the space to do that when you've done? So what's the plan? Is it just for fun, which probably not it's not advisable, or what's the plan for the babies?
Yeah, there's always that fine line, isn't there, between keeping animals because you love them and then you breed them and then you're trying to make money out of them.
Yeah.
Do you start to lose a bit of the passion as well and the love for the animals? They become a value commodity. And like you say, have a plan. A plan in place is very important because if you're just breeding to resell, like Joe said, you've got to make sure the market's available. Otherwise, you're going to saturate a market, you're going to end up stuck with animals, and then you're going to end up selling them dirt cheap, which is going to affect the market even more, and drop it even more. So as a breeder, you've got to be, I guess, very conscious of what's going on around you, as in with the market, to predict what's, if something's highly sought after, well then you put more efforts into that. If there's a lot of something in particular, you breed less of those because there's already saturation levels. Something more highly sought after, I guess you're going to make a little bit extra money for your time and effort, but at least it's going to go to a home pretty quickly. You're not going to get stuck with it. And when you get stuck with it, it's costing you money. As a breeder, it's cost you money now.
所以就是市场瞬息万变，但是热爱抵万难。所以您 现在因为有很多朋友是想从一个爬宠爱好者，或者说入门的爬宠爱好者，觉得这可能在中国是一个好的发展、好的生意啊，想转型为一个爬宠环育人。但是您首先要问自己，到底是不是真的热爱这些动物？然后计划是很重要的一环，你要去在你学习的过程当中有计划的去成为一个好的 breeder， 而不是我盲目的说我用这个东西投资，我想去挣钱，到最后可能就会失去你现在所拥有的，对吧？那么还有就是那在对待动物上，就仅仅在照顾动物上，觉得对动物最重要就是在饲养动物的过程当中，对动物来说，我们最应该注意的是什么？或者说他们有没有什么经验能够分享给大家？仅仅是在饲养动物这方面，就对动物啊。
I think we've discussed this before. The most important things are your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and your hands.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes across the board with keeping animals. You need to be able to look at your animals and identify whether there's an issue. Joe can talk about the next couple of parts, you know, smelling, even, you know, like when you open a cage and sometimes there's a bit of a woof, a different smell, that animal's contained in that environment. You can imagine how much that's going to affect its internal organs. Then you've got mouth, so I mean, Joe and I are both not scared of tasting.
Yeah, I mean, to sort of flip that on its head a bit, a lot of people come to me and ask, what temperature should this animal be at? What's this? And it's all in numbers, and it's like, it should be, how does the animal feel, or what's the animal doing, you know? Then you know you've got it right. Where is the animal in the enclosure? Is it hiding? Is it under the basket? Is it, you know, use your eyes, look at what the animal's doing. Yes, it's important what the temperature is, and yes, it's important, you know, is the animal eating its food, but learn to know what a healthy animal feels and looks like. You know, if it's in you, if you've got a snake or a lizard, what does a healthy snake do when it's in your hands like that, or how does it behave in the cage? If you learn that, the rest will come on top of it, you know.
Yeah, 所以就是有的时候看似就有很多新手会问，饲养这些东西要多少度，然后我应该去怎么喂它，就是需要一些看似很精准的数据，但是真正用爱去滋养的爬行动物是你要通过你的眼睛、鼻子、嘴和你的手去实际的感受和观察，对吧？就是有的时候其实不是要数据上的准确，而是要你对爬行动物的行为、对它们的习性、对它们的生态有具体的认知之后，你自然就会判断，在养动物当中你需要做的是什么，你需要注意的是什么，对吧 ？OK， 那非常感谢二位的分享。那么其实到最后的话呢，有没有一些想对中国爬友们说的话，或者说对，就是有什么寄语吗？给中国的爬友们。
Firstly, I want to say thank you because the experience that I've had this week has been like no other for me. You know, just the sheer magnitude of people that I've seen, but not only that, how well I was received. You know, everywhere I walked, everybody was smiling at me, and everybody was, oh, it's JoeBall. And for me personally, it's very rewarding. You know, my reptile journey was all just driven by my passion for what I wanted to do, but to see so many people recognise that as I walked around there was sort of quite humbling. And I think, you know, to put that back on anybody that's wanting to get into the reptile hobby in China now, it goes back to that. If you do what you love and chase it and don't worry about what anybody else is doing, you'll go a long way in that hobby, and that, you know, that really is a simple message, and I think that's the one that you should take from this, you know.
100%. I'm sorry with you. You know, it's very humbling to see the response and to see so many people that, you know, have greeted us with nothing but kindness and open arms. You know, it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, as a fellow reptile breeder and a world traveller, you know, we get to experience a lot of different circumstances, and this has just been overwhelmingly amazing, you know, to be honest, and you know, nothing but joy and thankfulness to each and every one of them.
OK， 那其实下次还会不会来中国
？Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah. OK， 然后一会儿呢，我们呢就要去开始我们继续我们签售的工作。你别看展会结束了，但是有很多朋友因为没有到现场来领，之前找我们预定的这些朋友们， 那我们会再去sign。
Yes, yes, yes.
对，然后牵手完了之后，大家可以来找我们，好吗？然后那也很感谢 Peter 跟 JoeBall 能用这么长的时间来感受中国的爬行动物文化。那我们最后用一句结语，用一句 slogan， 我们来结束今天的对话，好吗 ？OK, my first.
If you want.
Chinese reptile industry.
Newbie.
3, 2, 1.
Chinese reptile industry. Newbie.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 谢谢。